Hey everybody, I'm Uriah Kaiser, founder and publisher of Potomac Local News. It is Monday, December 18th. Sorry, December 8th. December 8th. We're not that far along in December yet. December 8th, 2025. We've got our live stream this afternoon. We'll be talking with two guests that will be coming on very shortly to talk about the Kraken Loop, which is a power line project scheduled to cut through portions of Stafford County, Spotsylvania County, and Caroline County. We've got two guests coming on to speak with us, and I'll introduce those guests here in a second. So as we get the live stream going, allow time for more people to come in. We'll get started about 1:15. In the meantime, we're watching winter weather. We've got we're seeing some flurries in the air today. Here where we are in Stafford County, in Spotsylvania, just south of here, they have announced an early dismissal for students in Spotsylvania schools. We have that pulled up here. That early dismissal will take place today, starting. It has already started. It looks like, let's see, high schools were released at 12:30, middle schools were released at 12:45, and elementary schools will be the last to be released today at 1:30 p.m. Again, Spotsylvania County Public Schools, 2-hour early dismissal today, December 8th, 2025. So we're covering the weather. We've got a request in to speak with Virginia Department of Transportation to see check on road conditions there. And I will pull up the 511 website and see how the roads are looking, and see if there's anything good to share in there before we get going in our live stream today about the Kraken Loop as we wait for our guest to join us. So let me go ahead and bring this on. There we go. Looking at our cameras here, just checking the roads. This is going to be look like we're moving the camera right there, right before Route 17 in Stafford County. Looking good. I'm going to zoom in so you get a tighter view on I-95. Looking here at near the Stafford Airport, looking good. We check the camera views a little further south. Let's head down here to Caroline County, Ruther Glen. Where we have more snow on the ground. Look at that. We got more snow there at Ruther Glen there near King's Dominion. Definitely cutting more so snow there. And I would imagine if we continue to go here down at King's Dominion, it is snowing there in that shot. You can see that's Interstate 95 there at King's Dominion. And we'll go back out here to the map. And we'll check see how our neighbors in the west are doing. Let's check in here. This is I-66 at mile marker 26. It looks like out in Fauquier County. Closer in, you're in the plains. No snow to be seen. It's amazing to see the cutoff there. No snow here in the plains. And of course, as we get in closer into 66, here into Haymarket and Gainesville. Let's see that traffic camera here. Right there in Haymarket, no snow to be seen. So it looks like the snow is well south of our region. So we're going to check in with VDOT later on today and see how they're handling conditions in the Fredericksburg district, which actually expands further south than you would think. It's much greater than just Fredericksburg proper. It goes all the way out to the Chesapeake Bay and further south. So we're going to check in with them and see how things are going. But the news here is that we have got early dismissal, Spotsylvania County Public Schools, 2-hour early dismissal today, with middle schools and high schools have already released their students. Elementary school students going home at 1:30 today. So, and you just saw in those camera shots, further south you went on I-95 is the more snow that we are seeing. So also checking, look, another thing we've been working on today, we've got the exclusive story on PotomacLocal.com. We had a really joyful, peaceful event ruined. That peace was shattered on Friday evening in Manassas when when police say a 24-year-old man drove through a barricade in Manassas during the Santa Lights Manassas event and injured one police officer in that crash. The driver has been charged with attempted malicious wounding as well as DUI. And we have that story. We have that story on our website, potomaclocal.com. We've been working on that one for you all day today, this morning. I'll bring that here on the screen. And the crash occurred Friday at 7:43 p.m. This is the during the Santa Lights Manassas event. This is when Santa arrives by train, by VRE train, and they light the Christmas tree in Old Town Manassas. Hay rides were still going on and when this happened, and this crash forced the closure of the event. Police closed the event early, and they shut things down and arrested the driver. So that story is on our website. The driver, identified as 24-year-old Jackson Burnley Harlow, briefly stopped but accelerated again, swerving onto the sidewalk and striking a street sign before turning onto Prince William Street in downtown Manassas. There, the vehicle hit two more police cruisers that were blocking the roadway before coming to arrest at Prince William Street and Liberty Street. Officers then converged on the vehicle and took Harlow into custody. So other point of note here is that the suspect, Harlow, we have confirmed through multiple sources that Harlow is the son of Historic Manassas Incorporated Executive Director Lisa Hariver Harlow. Lisa Hariver Harlow has not returned our request for comment. Historic Manassas Inc., or better known as HMI, is responsible for promoting the downtown businesses and holds several events throughout the year to bring events and people to downtown. So that's a brief look at what we are looking at, working on today. And we're going to bring in now, get started with our Monday afternoon podcast. Delegate Paul Milde joins us here on the podcast today. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great, Uriah. Thank you again for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to grab my earphones, and we're also going to be joined today by Jenny Smith, whose family farm faces direct impact from the proposed route. So as we wait for Jenny to come on, I know that she emailed me and told me that she's all set up. She's going to be joining us from outside where it's a little bit colder. It's a really cold day today, but she nonetheless told me that she would be joining us. So we'll be waiting. So as we get here, as we wait for her to get here, how's your Christmas season going? I know we had a bunch of Christmas events over the weekend. We were at the Fredericksburg Christmas Parade, and I know we had parades in Spotsylvania. We had one in Manassas. How's your Christmas season going?
Oh, it's going great. I actually after the election, we decided to duck out of town for a couple of weeks. So we just got back about a week ago from a 2.5-week trip overseas. So just getting back adjusted to the time and the reality of time zone and the reality here. So we haven't done much Christmassy. We're behind on everything. The tree's ready we have the tree, we haven't put it up. And we certainly haven't made it to a parade yet.
You and me both. I have yet to pull up my tree as well. So I'll let you know. I'll take a picture and share that when our tree goes up. It's just been one busy thing after another. And I believe that Jenny is here. So I'm going to bring on. Hi, Jenny. Can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. We just can't see you yet. That's all.
Yeah, we're having to shift a cable around really fast. So I hope.
And you're doing this all in the cold. I was telling Delegate Milde, who's on with us, that you're out in the elements today.
That's right, in the wild and woolly winds right now. So
yeah. So we'll let you get all set up there, but we've got an interesting show for you today, folks. Again, talking about this Kraken Loop that's going to be coming a bigger point of conversation going into 2026. So, Jenny, when you're ready, we'll get going there. While we wait for Jenny to get set up here, we will ask you: have you been paying attention to the Kraken Loop? Do you know what it is? Do you have any thoughts? Basically, this project is going to be affecting multiple counties in Stafford, Spotsylvania, Caroline, as Dominion Energy looks to bring a new power line through those areas, connecting substations in Lake Anna and Fauquier County. And so we will we've been covering that. The Stafford Board of Supervisors just this past week took a vote to address this plan, and we will have that information. And Jenny, I think we can see you now, so that's great. And you look all bundled up. Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. All right, here we go. Today we're taking a closer look at Dominion Energy's proposed 500 kilovolt transmission project known as the Kraken Loop, a plan that would put a corridor nearly the width of Interstate 95 through several Stafford County neighborhoods, farms, and environmentally sensitive areas. Over the past several weeks, we've heard on outpouring of concern from residents about health risks, property impacts, and forest loss, environmental effects, noise, and what many describe as a lack of meaningful community outreach on the part of Dominion Energy. The Stafford County Board of Supervisors has launched a coordinated response, including legal reviews and legislative recommendations and plans for a public town hall with Dominion early next year. Meanwhile, delegates and local landowners have taken their own steps to influence the process before the State Corporation Commission. Today, we're joined by two people who are deeply involved in this issue. Jenny Smith, whose family farm faces a direct impact from the proposed route, and Delegate Paul Milde, who recently filed a formal letter with the SCC opposing the overhead alignment and urging Dominion to consider underground alternatives. We'll explore what this project means for residents and what the community is asking for and what happens next in the months ahead. Thank you both for coming on the PLN podcast.
Happy to be here.
Well,
Thank
Jenny,
you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, Jenny, we'll start with you. You're out there in the elements at your farm where this power line very well could come through. For viewers out there who are just learning about this, can you describe how the proposed Kraken Loop would affect your family's land and why this issue is so important and personal to you?
Well, thank you, Uriah. I really appreciate, as I said, your coverage of this issue, and thank you for having me on today. I am here seated on my back patio overlooking the very area where the Kraken Loop is intended to pass over Poplar Grove Farm. Poplar Grove Farm has been in my family for over 200 years. It was first bought for my great-great-great-great-grandmother, Sally French, as a wedding gift from her father. And she first moved here to the farm in 1820. And so my family has been here on this property since 1820. And I'm here representing the 7th generation of the family to live here at Poplar Grove Farm. What you're looking at is part of the north part of the farm, which is where the Kraken Loop is intended to pass through. It will pass over about a half a mile of our farmland. And the proposed project is 120 feet wide, which is almost as wide as I-95. So Dominion is proposing to cut a strip through our family property as wide as I-95 through the trees that you see behind me. The proposed project passes over the pond, which is where our cattle have fed. And of course, where members of the family have fished recreationally for 200 plus years. Where it will also pass over this ridge behind me that you see, which we call the Devil's Backbone, which is a piece of the Appalachian Mountains. It actually has some geographic significance. When Virginia was part of Pangea, this particular part of Virginia was part of the mountain range that got stretched. So this part of Virginia would have connected with Scotland actually originally. But now it's a rocky ridge that goes back behind me, runs roughly east-west on the property. And then also it passes over a spring that feeds my house and the water table here for the farmland. And so as far as how it affects our family history, my great grandmother and my great uncle were among the Stafford County residents who fought against the easement in the late 1960s. Among other Stafford residents, they worked together to try to resist the power lines coming through Stafford County. And they were unsuccessful. The property all through Stafford County was seized by eminent domain in 1969. But as part of that negotiation process, my great grandmother, my great uncle, and then other property holders here in the county negotiated to have any future power line be benefit Stafford County.
So let me ask you this: your property lies within a current easement for a future power line, and that's been the case since the 1960s?
Correct. All of this easement property was seized in the 1960s by eminent domain.
I see. Well, we know that Virginia has more data centers than any other place on the planet, and a lot of this need for additional power, electricity infrastructure is driven by those data centers. I'm going to bring in Delegate Milde now. You recently filed a letter with the SEC outlining your opposition to the Kraken Loop as proposed. Can you summarize the key points of your argument?
Well, they're very, very easily. Yes. It's the rural character of certain parts of Stafford are in question in what we just heard, but also we have an urban landscape, unfortunately or fortunately, in north and northeast Stafford, that these lines will tower over and cut through. So 170-foot tall structures will just dominate the landscape. And that will have a negative effect on property values, and not to mention just aesthetics. It's basically the argument is that, and this, we're not arguing that they don't need their power generation or that they shouldn't even follow this path. The argument is that they should take the measures, the appropriate measures, and bury the lines in most cases, or in some cases. The more rural areas would probably be the last place they're going to want to spend the money. It's a 500% increase in cost to bury those lines. But what is and again, if you were to go north to an urbanized area, Prince William County or Fairfax, and try to put these lines in, it would be a non-starter. They would absolutely bury them. So they're trying to take the least expensive route to save taxpayers or ratepayers money, and that's understandable. But 15 years ago or more, 17 years ago, we fought the 5-mile overheading of power lines through Stafford from the Quiet Harbor substation. Following as far as I can tell, it's the same exact path. And I've been checking, and my people are telling me that, yeah, you're seeing this correctly. They literally want to put towers on top of where we just fought 15 years ago to have lines buried. And that is ridiculous. Why would you spend that kind of money to bury lines and then turn around and put larger overhead wires right on top of the same pathway? And if you don't know it, when you're driving down Mine Road from Embry Mill north on Mine Road towards Stafford Marketplace, about halfway there, you go down through a dip, and you can still see some of the clearing. It hasn't been that long, and you can see what you see is the riprap and the bluestone on either side. That is where the lines cross that Mine Road. They are proposing to put the lines on their easement on top of that now. And I just think it's kind of funny, comical, that they would spend the money, good money and then bad money, or good money after bad. I'm not sure how you can twist that saying to fit what they're suggesting. So, but I also know that with the SEC, that it's going to be I see your mouth moving. You're right. Yeah.
You bring up the power line there in Aquia, and I do remember that vividly as one of the first stories I worked on in Stafford County. And you mentioned that undergrounding that line, and so in addition to that fight we saw about 15 years ago in Stafford, about 10 years ago in Haymarket in Prince William County, we saw Dominion wanted to put in a transmission line to yet feed a data center. The neighbors banded together and fought it, went to the SEC, fought it, and at the end of the day, after much public outpouring, they ended up undergrounding a portion of that line. And I remember vividly talking with Dominion at the point in time, and Dominion was against that because it costs more money. And they say an underground line is less efficient in terms of transmitting electricity, carrying power, less efficient than an overhead line is. An overhead line being more efficient, being able to transfer more power. So, Jenny, you've been to the Board of Supervisors meeting. I saw you speak there the other day. You heard what they're at the end that they're hiring outside counsel on this. They're pushing for a joint meeting with Dominion Energy. We've heard complaints that Dominion has not been as forthcoming as they possibly can, wanting to engage with the public. They've held meetings where people can come in and, I guess, submit their comments, but there has been no sort of back and forth Q&A. So what's your reaction to the Stafford Board's measures and what they're doing here and their call for a public meeting with Dominion?
Well, I am delighted with the work that our Board of Supervisors is doing already. I feel like the Board of Supervisors is, some of our Board of Supervisors are veterans like Mr. Milde, who have already fought to have lines buried here in Stafford County, and they're veterans of that fight, and they know how to take it. They know how to work the system in a way that can mitigate the effects of these power lines on homeowners and property owners. So I'm delighted with what they're doing. I think it's a shame that we're having to fight this fight again after 15 years. Dominion lost that fight. You would think that they would realize that this is another fight that they're going to lose as well. But yeah, I'm thrilled with what the Board of Supervisors is doing. We appreciate all their support.
Delegate Milde, I talked earlier about just the proliferation of data centers, Virginia having more than just anywhere else on the planet. I mean, is this infrastructure an afterthought of approving all these data centers? And the state and these localities for years have tried to attract these data center companies to bring in these server farms that power the internet because of the tax revenue they generate for schools and local jurisdictions, coffers, and if you will. And so now that we have them and they're coming not only to Northern Virginia, but to places like Lake Anna and further south, really across the state, these power lines that are needed and these substations that are needed to power these server farms, do you think they were an afterthought and now people are just waking up to the repercussions of the data center proliferation?
No, I don't think they're an afterthought. I think this is pretty much how Dominion does their business. They've been working on this for a couple of years. They sold the idea to the PJM, and then now they know there's going to be pushback, and then they're going to get they can't really spend extra money unless the SEC or somebody pressures them to do it anyway. So I think this is just how they do things. I don't know if you're watching Landman, but when Ainsley goes into her college interview, she does a spiel. It turns out all she had to do was show up for the interview, and that's what I'm worried about with these public hearings, is that they are going to they're just stamping, they're just checking a box, and they're not listening. It's going to be hard to make this happen, and it's going to take a lot of people, the Board of Supervisors, your next delegate, and some help from the General Assembly. The Speaker of the House was our delegate 17 years ago, Bill Howe. That really can't be overstated. He was the biggest player in this, but he did it. And again, at least part of the path would be crazy to cover it back up with towers. So I don't think it's an afterthought. I think they're going to be okay. They're going to push this through one way or the other, some pathway or another, if they have to try to change pathways. and to accommodate. They started widening the easement in Aquia Harbor that's attaches to one end of this a couple of over a year ago, and we started, and they people that have just have forgot they even had a wider easement, their sheds, their pools, in some cases fences were all on these easements, and they came through and they set up these meetings, and people just show up and they listen, and nothing comes out of the meeting. You don't get a summary of the meeting. You certainly don't get what you would feel like as a negotiated. No one's negotiating with you. They're just listening. And so again, it's a check the box kind of thing. So the pressure is going to have to be extreme to try to force a change.
Yeah, no, and you talk about checking the box at these meetings. We've got this Buc-ee's building that wants to build in Stafford County off exit 140, and they held a public, what was generally a public, they called it a public meeting, but really it was set up much like what we hear, these Dominion meetings or VDOT meetings are described, where you come in and you see these project boards set up around the room, and you can go and ask questions of the company official who is standing next to these boards, but there really is but beyond that, there's no presentation or program or Q&A. And to Buc-ee's credit, when the people there pushed for a Q&A, their head spokesperson delivered, and that was there at Colonial Forge High School. So it took the pushing of the people who attended that meeting, wanting a Q&A and a direct engaged dialogue. And I think that it changed the dynamic of that meeting. And going back to what I was talking about in Haymarket, the public involvement also changed the project significantly, because again, we were talking about an area in 1993 that they were going to build a Disney park. And Disney, they fought Disney, and Disney didn't come, oddly enough. And here they were again, some nearly 25, 30 years later, fighting this power line. And they, like I said, they were successful in bearing a portion of it. So to the point about public involvement, Jenny, you have a meeting coming up on the 13th of this month, in a few days, at Porter Library in North Stafford to spread the word about this. I'll let you talk about that. Give us the date, the time, and what people can expect when they attend.
Well, actually, we have two meetings. There's our first meeting with Dominion is going to be tomorrow night. Dominion is coming to speak to the Stafford County Public Schools at the Stafford Government Center tomorrow evening. They're going to do a presentation at 5 p.m. and then open it for public comment tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So we're hoping that the public will join us there at that meeting to express their concerns about how the Kraken will affect our schools. I don't want to over talk too much here, but it's vitally important and very concerning for those of us who are on this segment of the loop, because our children are zoned for all three schools that are affected by the Kraken Loop. So not only will the Kraken Loop be in our backyards, but our children will be exposed to that EMF radiation and noise in the place where they learn as well. So they'll be exposed 24 hours a day to EMF radiation in the places where they sleep, in the place where they eat, and in the place where they learn. So that's vitally important. But yes, also on this Saturday, we're holding a public meeting to organize ourselves into a coalition of individuals, hoping to group ourselves into some committees that can take on some of these issues, and so that we don't overwhelm anybody, that nobody feels like they're fighting alone, but that we can share information together and join as a group, as a community, to speak out and try to get a voice on this Kraken Loop, to either get Dominion to shift the project. We don't understand why they won't just move it to crossing over Quantico, where it doesn't affect any of the residents, or to bury the lines, or at least bury parts of the lines, especially those areas that affect our students. But we just want input. Yeah.
As I'm looking at the areas in Stafford County that are affected are the corridor, as you said, cuts 120-foot path near Mountain View High School, Margaret Brent Elementary, Rodney Thompson Middle, and the Austin Ridge Community Fields. So those are the areas. There's a public areas and schools that will be affected by that. And again, the counties affected by this are Stafford, Spotsylvania, and Caroline, as they look to run this line connecting two stations, two substations, one in Fauquier County and one in Caroline. I'm sorry, one at Lake Anna. So this is this is an ongoing thing. And so what we're looking at in 2026 is Dominion is expected to refine its preferred route through the area. And then we're expected to see a filing before the State Corporation Commission in 2026, which will give ultimate regulatory approval for this, should it decide to do so. And that's when we'll start to hear the environmental hearings and public testimony. But all of that may take 12 to 24 months. So from what it sounds like, you guys are organizing now as this project is really ramping up and getting going.
Correct. That's the goal. We want to make sure that we can meet Dominion at each stage of the process and respond to, make sure that we have input and respond to whatever plans they're making for the Kraken.
So I'll let you let people know how they can learn more about you, your website, killthekraken.com.org.
Right. Or you can go to burythoselines.com. That's really the main website. Nice. Where we're trying to put information together make it easy for the public to collect information and share information on the project. We've got steps there, what to do if you've got an easement, how to stay in contact with who to contact, how to contact the SCC. We also have a mailing list. That's really our best way to contact people, is through the email list, because not everybody's on social media. So yeah, if people can go there and sign up for the email list, that's our best way to stay in touch with individuals.
It's fantastic. And Delegate, what's next for you in this process? You've submitted your letter. What will you do as you continue on in your term here? And then in 2026, you're coming back and joining the rest of us in the resident pool, if you will, here in Stafford County. So what's next? Citizen Milde, what will you do do you plan on getting involved and staying involved? What's next for you when it comes to this project?
I will stay involved and offer any kind of advice and wisdom and pushing, telling you which buttons I think should be pushed. It's pretty simple. The good news is my replacement needs to make a good impression here in Stafford, and her party controls the Richmond, which means they have an incredible influence over the SCC and Dominion. So there's your connection that needs to really be worked.
Yeah, and we'll continue asking questions of elected leaders here, to include Stacey Carroll, who will be replacing you in the House of Delegates. She won the election this past November, so we'll be questioning not only her but other state leaders, state level leaders, as to get their comments and input on this project. Thank you both for joining us here on the PLN podcast today. Before we go, I want to know what you guys think. Let me know if you will be paying attention after you've listened to this discussion. Will you be attending the meeting tomorrow night at the County Government Center you just heard Jenny talk about? Are you going to the Porter Library to get involved there? Are you going to contact Dominion? Do you think we need these power lines? Do you like the data centers? Do you think they're a great boon for Virginia and we should do whatever we need to do to support the infrastructure to make these boxes work? Let us know in the comments. You can comment here on our YouTube page at youtube.com/Potomac Local, and you can also comment on our Facebook as well. Please, if you're not a subscriber to us on Facebook, please go on YouTube. Please like us on our YouTube channel and like this video and become a subscriber. We're working on reaching our 1,000th subscriber, and we can't wait to have you as our next subscriber on YouTube. And of course, for the rest of the day's news, go to potomaclocal.com and check out what's making news there, and sign up for our free daily news email. We send out every day at 4 p.m. Thanks so much for joining us. Stay warm out there today, and we'll talk to you soon.